Hi everyone, today I am sharing with you 3 mistakes that I constantly made that kept me in the cycle of binge and restriction. My name is Nicole. I spent 20 years of my life in the binge restrict cycle and I'm finally binge free, and now I'm sharing my story and my best tips with you in hopes that you can break free from binge eating too. So without further ado, the first mistake and the biggest mistake, I would say, they're all pretty big, but the first mistake that I would make that kept me in a binge restrict cycle, when I say it out loud, it might sound really obvious to you, but it was not obvious to me. The first mistake that I constantly made was I restricted myself. The more that I restricted myself, the more I would binge off. In 2016, my New Year's resolution was to go completely raw for the entire year, completely raw vegan. And I did that for 6 months. I was fully raw for 6 months, fruit-based, raw vegan. And about 6 months into the year, my boyfriend at the time decided to do a juice fast. And of course, I was like, yes, I will do the juice fast with you. I ended up doing a fast, doing only juice for 16 days, and I was making all of the juice myself at home with my Omega slow masticating juicer, and I was feeling really good, and overall it was a good experience. And then 16 days into it, I just kind of decided I was done. And mind you, the first 6 months of that year, I had been fully, completely raw vegan. Then I did 16 days on juice only, and then after coming off of the juice fast, I totally binged out on all kinds of vegan junk food. Like, I just totally lost control of my eating. So this isn't just an example of how when I restricted myself, I was doing pretty good on the raw vegan diet, and then I restricted myself further, did just juices, and because I went through those 16 days of, like, deprivation isn't the right word, because I was nourished, I was drinking juice, I wasn't hungry, but it was like a mental thing for me because I had restricted myself. After coming off of that period of restriction, I just lost control. It was a long time ago, so I can't 100% remember exactly how it went. I just remember it was like after the juice fast, I just wasn't raw vegan anymore. Like, I just wasn't raw vegan, and I was eating whatever, and I just didn't have any control over what I was eating anymore. So the number one mistake that I don't do anymore is I don't restrict myself ever. I never restrict myself. Instead of saying, like, I can't have, for me, the big things were fat and processed foods. I was already committed to being vegan. This is specifically after I went vegan in 2013. The big thing for me was to limit the amount of fats that I was intaking and to limit the amount of processed foods, because my overall goal was to lose weight. And as soon as I told myself I can't have fat, or I can't have too much fat, or I can't have processed foods, I just immediately wanted it, because it was coming from a space of me trying to control myself. It wasn't coming from a space of love. So that was my number one mistake that I did when I was in 20 years of binge restrict cycle. I kept trying to restrict myself, what types of food I could eat, how much food I could eat, and it was from a place of criticism, and it never served me. It kept me in the cycle for 20 years. The second mistake that I made that kept me in the binge restrict cycle for more than 20 years of my life was I made weight loss my number one goal. Every restrictive decision that I made in my life, pretty much like every decision in my life, I was making it from a place of feeling like I wasn't enough, like I needed to lose weight in order to be worthy. And so constantly I was telling myself, like, I just need to lose 10 pounds, I just need to lose 10 pounds, I just need to lose 15 pounds, whatever. Living in that space that I'm not good enough as I am right now, and making all of my decisions based around weight loss. If I eat this way, then I will lose weight. That was the number two mistake that kept me in the binge restrict cycle. I made food choices out of my desire to lose weight, as opposed to making food choices out of my desire to be healthy and feel nourished and satisfied. All right, and then the third mistake that I repeatedly made that kept me so deep in the binge restrict cycle is I took failure too seriously. Life equals failures. Like, life equals a series of failures. And if you are afraid of failing, or if you come down on yourself super hard for failing, like, you are not going to get very far in life. And I learned that the hard way, like most people do. Basically, what kept me in the binge restrict cycle is I would come up with a goal for myself. I'm going to eat this restrictive way, right? Mistake number one, because I want to lose X amount of pounds. Mistake number two. And I'm going to be super strict about it because I want to finally lose the weight so that I can be happy. That was my big thing, like, boiled down, right? So I would try this super restrictive diet. I would fall off the wagon, and then I would just sort of be like, oh my gosh, I fell off the wagon again. How many times am I gonna fall off this dang wagon? I feel like all my bones are broken. Let me just sit here and cry about it and tell myself that I am just must not be good enough to have this body that I want or have this life that I want. It must just not be in the cards for me because there's just something wrong with me that I can't stick to these very restrictive diets that I'm putting myself on. Basically, I would fall off the wagon and then I would just shame myself. I would just be like, it would just be this big shame party. And the shame party that I threw for myself would make me feel like crap. I would be really low energy and just feel really bad about myself. And then I would just say to myself, okay, you know what? I'm gonna be super good tomorrow. Tomorrow, I'm gonna start again and I'm gonna eat like no overt fats, or I'm gonna eat just fruit, or I'm just gonna fast tomorrow so that I can like make up for all this time that I lost. And that was a big mistake. That was a big mistake. What I was doing is I was taking my failures too seriously instead of just saying like, oh, I fell off the wagon again. I slipped up in this little way. Like, let me just stand back up and catch the wagon again. Let me just get back on the wagon so that I can keep going on my journey. I did not do that. I like fell off the wagon and then made this like big dramatic show about it and was like, oh, I fell off the wagon and like my life is over and blah, blah, blah. And like, let me take these big dramatic measures to like run back to the wagon in this really dramatic way when like really all I needed to do was just like stand up and get back on the wagon and keep going. So that was my third mistake that I would do all the time is I would slip up on my super restrictive diet and I would just shame myself. I would take my failures way too seriously. Let me just let you in on a little secret. There is no success without failure. If you aren't failing, you're doing something wrong. If you're not failing, you're not challenging yourself enough. So failures are something that should be celebrated. They are something that you can gain feedback from, gain information from about yourself and your tendencies and what's working for you and what's not working for you. So when you set unrealistic goals for yourself and then you don't meet those unrealistic goals and then you beat yourself up about it and then further yourself in this shame cycle, that's not helping anyone, especially not you, and it's definitely not helping you get to your goals better. So that is one thing that I learned, was that I needed to not take my failures so seriously. So just to recap, one huge mistake that I did is I restricted myself. I set myself unrealistic diet goals to try to get myself to lose weight. I made weight loss my number one goal instead of just choosing to make choices for myself, like out of compassion, because I wanted to be happy and healthy. I wanted to lose weight. I made that my focus. And then when I would eventually fall off the wagon and make a mistake, because the goal that I set for myself was unrealistic and I was making decisions for myself, not out of love, but out of a place of lack, I would fall off the wagon and I would beat myself up, shame myself about it. And then I would set stronger restrictions, fall off the wagon again. The cycle continues. So if you are struggling with binge eating, take a look at if you're making any of these three mistakes and try to shift your mindset around it. Like, ask yourself, why am I being so restrictive? Can I do this in a different way? Why do I want to lose weight so bad? Can I switch my mindset and make choices more so from a place of compassion than more so like feeling that I need to like fix my body? And when you do inevitably fail, because we all fail when we try new things, we fail because we're learning. So when you inevitably fail, instead of making a big dramatic show about it and shaming yourself, just step back up, jump back on the wagon, and keep going towards your destination, because that wagon's not going anywhere without you. You're the one that's gotta route the journey. So get back on, get on the wagon, and celebrate your failures. Really is the message. Celebrate your failures. Say, yay, I did something challenging and I failed, and now I'm learning, and now I get to try again. So thank you so much for watching. I have created a free PDF journal. It's called the Opportunity Journal, and it's 6 steps that you can do today to stop binge eating. Today. So if you want that free journal guide, the link is in the description of this video. There are 6 steps that I use every single day to keep myself binge free. I've been binge free for 3 years now, praise the Lord. And if you want to take those same steps that I did, please download the guide. It would be awesome if it would help you out. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.